Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. It's that time of year again. PaizoCon is upon us. We are here. You are here. It is PaizoCon. OMG. Here we go. This is Friday morning. Welcome to the keynote of PaizoCon. I am Erik Mona. I am your publisher and chief creative officer at Paizo, and I am delighted to welcome you not just to PaizoCon, but to the PaizoCon keynote address. We've asked the creative staff of Paizo to come along and show off some stuff that they're working on. Talk about exciting new releases for Starfinder, for Pathfinder, for other cool things you probably don't even know about yet. We've got a parade of folks to come in over the next hour or so to give an overview of a little taste, if you will, of some of the big reveals and deep dives we'll be doing all weekend long here at PaizoCon. What is PaizoCon? PaizoCon is a virtual convention. We are gathering here online all weekend long for panels, for live plays, for panel events, and Paizo games like Pathfinder Society and Starfinder Society. Before I get any further, let me tell you, your key to the weekend's events all weekend long is Paizo.com/PaizoCon. You can hop on there for links to the Warhorn to get set up in Paizo organized play events. You can go down there for a schedule of upcoming panels. We have panels going all weekend long through Sunday, and games. It's a long weekend, you guys. We got games going all the way into Monday. So pop over to Paizo.com/PaizoCon for your full schedule of all the weekend's events. We'll be streaming right here at twitch.tv/official Paizo all weekend long. We've got staff panels. We've got all kinds of stuff coming your way. Check out the full schedule at Paizo.com/PaizoCon. We are so glad to have you with us. Looking forward to chatting with you on some AMAs on the Discord. Looking forward to gaming with some of y'all. This is going to be an exciting weekend. We do it every year, and we are doing it right now. So organized play games start today. That's Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and will continue all the way through the holiday weekend into Monday. This keynote is just the beginning. This is an overview of all the excitement we have planned. Stay tuned for big announcement, reveals, and more. And let me start with a huge announcement. We have got a sale going on Paizo.com throughout the entire weekend of PaizoCon festivities. So pop on over to Paizo.com, make a purchase, and enter the discount code PaizoCon25. That's PaizoCon25, all one word, and you are going to get 20% off a single order on Paizo.com. 20% off. That is a level of discount that we do not often do, but we're so excited to share this weekend with you. We've been doing this for over a decade now, and we are just so stoked for PaizoCon, and we want to share that stokedness with you by extending a 20% off discount on a single order. Once again, Paizo.com orders PaizoCon25. One word will get you 20% off a single order. My God, what a deal. This promotion does not stack with other discounts and cannot be used on subscriptions, pre-orders, back orders, and non-Paizo products. Okay, you got that? PaizoCon25. That's the code. Check it out. All right, so you've got games. You've got panels. You've got Discord AMAs. But what you've got coming up right now is the rest of this amazing keynote presentation. And up first, we have got Jenny Jarzabski, manager of the Starfinder team. And Jenny is going to talk about Starfinder 2nd Edition. It's launching right now. It is officially, the player core is coming out at Gen Con. The Galaxy Guide is imminent. Oh my God, it's happening. Jenny, tell us all about Starfinder. I'll be back later. Take it away, Jenny.
There, everyone. Thank you so much, Erik. We really appreciate that. Welcome to PaizoCon. I'm ready, though, to take you to space. That's right. We're going to the future. 2025 is the launch of Starfinder 2nd Edition. So I'm here with the Starfinder team, or at least most of us, to announce that for you. I'm Jenny Jarzabski, pronouns she, her, they, them, or zee, them, and I am the Starfinder creative manager.
I am Mike Kimmel, pronouns are he, him. I am a senior developer on the Starfinder team.
I'm Dustin Knight, pronouns he, him. I am a designer on the Starfinder team.
So we're actually trying something a little different, and we're blasting off this campaign, the second edition, with Galaxy Guide, which is available right now, or with a Starfinder rulebook subscription. Launch your first Starfinder campaign into orbit, or blast your Pathfinder adventures into outer space with Galaxy Guide. This is a rulebook with fully compatible rules for Pathfinder 2nd edition. That's also an exciting primer for the Starfinder science fantasy setting. In Galaxy Guide, we're exploring the most unique and interesting locations in the galaxy. But it's also packed full with rules for players, like six new playable ancestries, 6 archetypes tied to the most powerful factions in the galaxy, from Infernal Hell Knights to conservationist Xenowardens, or maybe Abadar Corp agents, if you're interested in a little corporate espionage. And we've also got a ton of backgrounds in there to round out your characters, plus tons of cool art. I mean, look at this. Look at this Skittermander Hell Knight. Like, can you imagine such a thing?
We did.
We did, and we put it in this book just for you. But if you want to play Starfinder, you are going to need to have some rules. So, Dustin, why don't you tell us about the next book that we're releasing this year?
Oh man, well the next book is going to be our player core. This essential book contains all the core rules for Starfinder, starting with the ABCs of character creation, 10 new ancestries, 6 new classes, tons of new backgrounds for sci-fi characters, which all help incorporate our new skills like computers and piloting, and gives a bunch of other new uses for existing skills like lore and performance. There's a ton of new feats, tons of new spells, a freighter hold full of new high-tech and magical gear. You'll see a lot of things that you might have seen at the Gen Con playtest, plus just frankly just a ton of new stuff that we've both perfected and created since. You could get it subscribing to the Starfinder rulebook subscription, or you could pre-order it now, so you could get it ASAP in August.
Sounds great, Dustin, but what if I want a GM Starfinder 2nd edition?
Well, if you want a GM, you will need the player core, especially for those spells and items. But you will also want to pick up the GM core. The GM core expands on all the rules and options you'll need for your campaign, including options like cinematic starship encounters, dynamic hacking rules, tips for running time-traveling adventures, whether it's with your old Pathfinder 2e characters, or even taking your Starfinder characters all the way to your favorite Pathfinder 2e adventure paths. Vehicles, hazard, setting material, GM tips, special materials, monster creation rules, you have it. You don't need the GM core to play the game, but you'll probably still want it because it's full of a lot of helpful tools and tips to help inspire you to build your campaign and flesh out your world.
Speaking of fleshing out your world, we are very, very excited to announce Alien Core, our big book of monsters, machines, and marvels, or as I like to say, lots of bugs and robots. Don't worry, there's plenty more than that, but you can use these creatures to populate your galaxy or throw them at time-traveling adventurers. Perhaps you want to use these creatures, these aliens, for a Pathfinder game. That is A-OK. They're designed for Starfinder, and the lore in the book and descriptions assume you're using them in a Starfinder campaign, but we have absolutely no problem. In fact, we encourage you to take these aliens and drop them on your unsuspecting Pathfinder player characters. We have an amazing cover here showing some new creatures as well as some classics. We have plenty of classic enemies, such as the spellcasting Necrovites, creatures such as the Skarak. You see we are drawing from multiple Alien Archive volumes from first edition here to round out the offerings in this book. We also have new creatures such as Cannon Archons and giants that have incorporated fungal biotech into their bodies to survive the treacherous reaches of space, and all kinds of new things as well as classic offerings from our past Alien archives.
And monsters like that Cannon Archon are also perfect for our players to summon in the battle to torment their GM with. So you should probably also pick this up if you are a player.
That's right.
Absolutely. Got to have that edge. Speaking of players, though, we know that with these new books we have coming out, starting with August and then Alien Core releasing in September, we know that you're going to want to have some adventures to play. And we do still have our playtest adventures that are available. StarfinderPlaytest.com. Those are still free downloads. They are still very exciting and fun adventures to play through, but we've got you covered with some brand new content. We have a deluxe adventure coming out, Murder in Metal City. It is pretty cool. It is our shot at a deluxe experience for first level characters that really walks you through just the leveling up process, the experience, and gives you an immersive, fun experience as first level characters starting out together. Whether you choose the pre-gens that we've lovingly created and placed in this deluxe box for you, or you use the rules to create your own characters to tell this story. Either way, we hope you won't be disappointed. I actually got to write this. I had the pleasure of writing this adventure, but Mike Kimmel here was the lead developer on the project, so I know he has a little bit more he can say about this adventure.
I love the plot we're kicking off with this adventure. Let me just say that while this is a self-contained adventure for first level characters, it also touches on just very exciting themes that we're exploring in other areas of our campaign as well. And you really won't want to miss this one. I really encourage you to hop in. We have this awesome Skittermander pre-gen character you can play if you want to, along with 5 other pre-gens, one for each of the core classes from Starfinder Player Core. And you'll meet lots of interesting characters, such as this robot, this SRO, lucky compilation of numbers who likes to play cards, which we'll talk about more in just a little bit. This adventure is for first level, I think Jenny mentioned, and it really immerses you in that first level experience. You'll be second level by the time the adventure ends.
Yeah. One more thing I do want to say about this adventure too is it gives you a rare opportunity to really get immersed and experience our setting, not just level 1. And you get to visit the machine world, Avalon, and specifically the Metal City of Striving, which we have some gorgeous new art for. Really learn more about the Anacytes, who are machine people who live on this world, as well as other synthetic creatures like SROs, sentient robotic organisms, or androids, and others who have moved here into and created sort of a machine almost utopia, as you'll find out. It's almost a utopia on Avalon. And essentially, Murder in Metal City is your chance to solve a murder mystery affecting a close former friend or contact of yours. And you get a chance to explore this piece of the setting. We're really looking forward to it. You know, with Galaxy Guide, we're showing you kind of a primer, a bug's eye, so to speak, a swarm's eye view of the setting with our wonderful Galaxy map poster that you can get in that book, which I don't think I mentioned. It has a super cool 2-sided poster map of the galaxy and the Pact Worlds, but you kind of get a zoomed out view of all the cool hotspots in our setting. And then we're going to bring it in with Player Core and even GM Core. We dig deeper into our setting and show you the Pact Worlds, which is our core planets, our core alliance of worlds, and then into near space where various threats and allies like the Beskarium, Polonus, which is our newest Pact world, and other empires and organizations exist. And then here in some of our adventures we have coming up, we're going to really start zooming in to Starfinder and what people have been begging for, which is to just really dig into these weird planets. So Murder in Metal City is your chance to visit the planet of the machines and help some very logical people solve a murder. Or how is it that Tier 99 Professor describes their death? Don't they say something like a premature shutdown or something like that, Mike?
That's right, Jenny. Tierney, or Tier 99 Professor, informs you, greetings friends, if you're watching this, it's because I've experienced an unexpected shutdown. In organic terms, I'm dead. Which is an excellent way to kick off Murder in Metal City, if I do say so myself. Well done, Jenny.
Thank you. So yeah, it's a great time. If you like robots, if you like, murder and murder mysteries, come on down for Murder in Metal City, releasing in August. You can also subscribe to the Starfinder Adventure subscription on Paizo.com to go ahead and pre-order it right now. Speaking of adventures, we have more for you. I said our adventures would start to dive in and really zoom in on Starfinder locations, and I was not kidding, because next up we visited Avalon, and now we're going to Eox. The next adventure I want to talk about coming up is Guild of the Grave World, which comes out just in time for Halloween in October. That is written by Michael Bramnick. Guild of the Grave World is an adventure path that starts at level 1, exploring the dark secrets of the undead planet Eox. This adventure does, rather than giving you a snapshot of level 1, it does in fact go a bit longer and ends at level 5. This adventure also features Zoe, one of our very infamous undead celebrities that all sorts of people seem to have heard of, even sometimes in Pathfinder. And you might even learn some of the truth behind this undead media mogul's fame. Ooh, sounds pretty cool, huh? This is another fun one because you get to deep dive and explore Eox. You'll get to fight the Corpse Fleet, those dreaded undead supremacists who even Eox doesn't want anything to do with. That's right. You start out working for Ulrika Clan Holdings, a dwarven asteroid mining corporation, and everything's going fine until the Corpse Fleet gets in your business. So, of course, you have to go to Eox, the Grave World, and battle the Corpse Fleet, find unlikely allies, and it was spoilers. I won't get into the spoilers.
Lots of spoilers.
This is a fun one, though. There's also, this one has a foray into our cinematic starship combat. So you notice, for those of you paying attention, you'll note that we mentioned in GM Core, there is a cinematic starship combat system that shows you how, as a GM and a player, to have a starship to run like chases or even battles with starships. We are going to have tactical starship rules coming out in a future book, and we will likely be playtesting that as well. But we are not quite there yet. So for now, we have some really cool cinematic starship scenes that can seamlessly run into your gameplay, working like complex hazards do to seamlessly integrate into your encounters and campaigns. So look forward to that and a taste of what that looks like in Guild of the Grave World. You can also go on a shopping spree in Pactport. So you ever want to go to like Mega Planet Hot Topic? Like, there you go. It's right there. You can go.
And the toolbox in this adventure gives you a lot of really cool stuff you could buy too. There's some really, really spicy options in this book. So,
yeah, there's a couple new spells as well in this book. There's also some new, a new ancestry and a new versatile heritage. Specifically, there is a corpse folk versatile heritage that allows you to play another type of undead. Fans of playable undead rejoice. You're going to have another option. You'll be feasting as Urgathoa intended. Actually, ew, that's gross. Don't do that. Maybe not. And yeah, so you also have Librians, who are the people who once lived. Well, they still are on Eox, but they're not really living anymore so much. There's a few who are alive, but most are dead or undead. So you can actually play a living Librian, they look very human. They have kind of enlarged craniums, very kind of like classic, 50s style, like alien kind of space pulp a little bit. They're very magically talented. And nowadays, the biggest population of them lives in essentially a reality show paradise called the Halls of the Living, where Zoe films pretty much everything they do. But don't worry, they do have a union. And you can find out all about this in Guild of the Grave World this October. Don't miss it.
So talking about the history of Eox, over 300 years ago, a mysterious event called the Gap wiped everyone's memory of an entire era. But many artifacts from that time remain, including the Infinity Deck.
Ooh.
In the chaotic time after the Gap, aliens found this deck all over the place and worked together to try to figure out how games were played using it. These kind of game archaeologists managed to create not only copies of the deck to sell all over the place, but tons of new games and ways to use the deck. The Infinity Deck itself contained 65 cards and 5 suits, plus rules for how to play 4 of the most popular games in the galaxy. It could be used as a standalone game or something your characters could do together to represent gambling in the casino or just having a fun game night activity between sessions. You could own a piece of this Starfinder lore this August, but you better hurry up and get it before the Gap does. You can even buy a copy of the deck using the rules in our player core to make sure that your character is never without their own Infinity deck.
Yep, that's right. There is a tie-in. Oh, yes, Mike?
I was going to talk about the tie-in.
You talk about the tie-in. Cut that. Let Mike.
In fact, a Infinity deck would be an excellent purchase for a character playing Murder in Metal City, also releasing in August. Nice timing. There's a fun portion of that very noir urban adventure where you have the chance to play some card games. And if you wanted to, you could do that by actually playing cards using the Infinity deck. That is up to you and your players, but have at it and have a fun and let us know how it goes.
Exactly. Yeah, we were lucky enough to be able to sit down with some of the game's creators. The Infinity deck itself is by Paizo Games. Joe Piscini and Jason Bullman worked on it together, and playing it on Tabletop Simulator was really, really fun, and I can't wait to get back to it again.
Yeah, it was super fun. It's going to hopefully be something you can use to round out your Starfinder campaign or give a gift to your favorite GM or your favorite player. So we've talked about your essential rule books coming out. Yeah, your setting primer with Galaxy Guide coming out with a sweet 2-sided poster map that you're going to want on your wall. You're going to want that on Foundry. By the way, all of these books are going to have Foundry supplements that you can purchase as well. You can get that on Paizo.com. Or if you're lucky enough to be at Gen Con, you can check out our store and ask us about that. We will have Foundry support for this. And even Galaxy Guide is going to have some goodies that you're going to want to check out. But we've got this awesome game ready for you, full of aliens, and we've got a couple adventures. You can start out by exploring some of the past worlds, but, you know, I think there's just something missing. And it's not just the Gap. I think that we need a novel. And we've talked about this novel. We've announced that we are going to finally fulfill this wish that many of us have had for so long to get a Starfinder novel, which is called Era of the Eclipse, written by Tim Pratt, who some of you may note is of Pathfinder Tales fame, has written other novels as well. But we are very excited to have Tim come and play in our world and introduce you to, well, one of the most confusing but iconic events in our setting, which is the Gap. We thought, why not? Let's go to the source of it. Era of the Eclipse pulls back the curtain on a historical event that we've only really alluded to in the past or included as part of a timeline in a source book. You'll get to learn what it was like to be trapped on Absalom Station when everyone around you was waking up with collective amnesia of their past life up till this moment. You'll learn about the founding of the Starfinder Society, which is a group that came out of that chaotic time. You'll also learn how the dreaded Hell Knights' autocratic Order of the Eclipse became a nefarious force in the Pact Worlds. And you'll get to spend some time in the present time of Starfinder and get to meet our iconics Chick, Chick, and Day, who are, in fact, appearing in this novel on screen, so to speak. So I am so excited about this novel. We have the cover art to show you here. It's really amazing. I would say more about it, but I don't want to spoil it for you. I just think that it's a great read that is coming out this August. So it will be available at launch. So yes, please check that out. And don't forget, these books and more are available on Paizo.com, and many are available by our subscriptions. We have the Starfinder Rulebooks, Adventures, and Special Edition. If you love those cool foil and sketch covers, we've got some really neat ones coming out. So please keep an eye out on Paizo.com for that, for more information about our upcoming playtests, accessories, blog fiction, merch, and more. And with that, this has been Jenny Jarzowski with the Starfinder team, and I think we're going to take it back to Lost Galarian and pass this off to Jason Keeley and the Pathfinder team for the Hellfire Crisis segment. Ooh. So we'll be up in space while y'all go to hell. So we'll see you later.
Thank you, Jenny. All right, listen up, grunts. When a diplomatic incident occurs in Isgir, the armies of Cheliax and Andoran clash at their shared border. This soon leads to other nations and factions to take sides in an event that will permanently change the face of the Inner Sea region. Welcome to war, soldiers! Hi, I'm Jason Keeley, senior designer on the Pathfinder Rules and Lore team and design lead for the upcoming Battlecry hardcover. With me are Pathfinder lead designer Logan Bonner and developer Michelle Kim. Say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you. Battlecry will be Pathfinder's big Gen Con release with 2 new classes, the Commander and the Guardian, and an ancestry, planar giants called Jotunborn, making their debut in the world of Galarian, as well as a battalion of archetypes, spells, rituals, and items focused on waging war. The Commander is a battlefield leader, issuing orders to their squad mates to maximize the group's tactical advantages. And the Guardian is the ultimate protector, shrugging off the damage meant for their allies with their sturdy armor. Whether you're a player or a GM, you'll find just about everything you need to theme your characters and campaigns around conflicts both large and small in Battlecry. In addition to a look at the tensions brewing throughout Galarian after the God's Reign, the book includes advice for GMs running war-themed adventures, a garrison of new troop stat blocks, and rules for what we're calling skirmish encounters. Logan here is going to tell you all about that.
I am. Thanks, Jason. Skirmish encounters are a new type of encounter that you can put into your game as a GM that lets everybody still play their Pathfinder characters, but also have a troop attached to them that they get to carry around the battlefield, travel along with. Each PC is going to get their own troop, so you can kind of pick them to different themes based on what your character's like. And every turn they get in combat, they're going to share a pool of actions, and they're going to move together. It's really just kind of like your PC is everywhere within their troop and clashing against other troops on the battlefield and having these kind of more epic fights. So it's the kind of thing you want to use for your climactic encounters and special events that really still feels like you get to play with all your toys that you put into your character, but get some extra stuff. There's also some fun additional mechanics like if you're familiar with the troop rules, they have different thresholds when they lose hit points, and you can rout the enemy troops and get them to run away. But if you're commanding a troop, you're going to make them better at that check to resist that. So they're going to stick around with you, even if they maybe are a little bit frightened of continuing the fight after they've gotten their butts handed to them. You can also, if you're preparing for the fight, you can spend a day training with your troop to get a special bond. So this might let a sneaky character help their troops with stealth, even though they'd normally be just, a big infantry group clanking around. So it's got a lot of different options for long-term play. You can do recurring troops, and it's also great for just one-off big cool encounters with a grand style to really show off that warfare element of this book. Back to you, Jason.
Awesome. Thanks, Logan. Now, Battlecry is going to kick off the Hellfire Crisis, another major setting event that pits the diabolic armies of Cheliax against the freedom-loving forces of Andoran. Who will triumph, and how will the other nations of the Inner Sea respond? Now, you can participate in this ongoing war, starting with the Battle of Hell Knight Hill, a special ticketed event occurring at Gen Con in the Sagamore Ballroom. You'll take your characters, or maybe some pre-gens, and fight alongside Eagle Knights to breach the walls of a Hell Knight Citadel, and perhaps face a few devils and other diabolical entities along the way. Other stories of this war are going to be told across multiple Pathfinder Society scenarios and 2 adventure paths, the first of which is Hellbreakers. And Michelle Kim is here to tell you all about that.
Thank you, Jason. Hellbreakers is going to be the first of 2 adventure paths that take place during this crisis, and it's going to be low level 1 to 9, ending with the PCs becoming level 10. And this journey is going to kind of reflect the growth and influence of the Hellbreakers as an organization, as well as the power of the PCs as they work in Isgir to foment rebellion against their Chelaxian oppressors. And so this very, very much a scrappy rebels kind of adventure where you're working together to free your nation from oppressive rule. And, maybe we'll see some old enemies along the way.
All right, intriguing. Thanks, Michelle. Now, as the war progresses, we'll see its impact through a couple of Lost Omen settings books and other things. But finally, the Hellfire Crisis will bring us more Pathfinder fiction with Operation Hellmouth by fan favorite Chris Jackson. Keep an eye out for hellfirecrisis.com for more announcements about this ongoing event. Well, it's time for us to ship out to the front lines. So over to John Compton and James Jacobs to tell us about even more adventure paths.
Thank you very much, Jason. Great to hear about the Hellfire Crisis, as well as some of the cool events that are coming up for that. We've been also tying into a whole bunch of other products with some of our narratives and our adventures. Recently, you may have seen something called War of Immortals, and that introduces, mythic adventuring and gameplay. And we on the narrative team have been really excited to explore that. So we're going to cover a couple things coming up for the mythic side, as well as a few of the adventures that are not touching on mythic, as well as some new ways that we're telling stories in formats you haven't seen before. So let's see about getting to those. Speaking of which, today we have two members of the team to share some of the upcoming products. So let's start with James. Tell us about yourself.
Hey, I'm James Jacobs. I'm the Pathfinder Narrative Creative Director. Been at Paizo for almost the entire time, minus 1 year. Just adventures is what I live for. So excited to talk about them.
And I'm John Compton. I'm a lead developer on the narrative team and joined the team about 2 or 3 years ago. And excited to tell you about some of the upcoming adventures that we're going to be doing. But one of them is going to be kind of sounding a little bit familiar. James, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, starting in July, we're going to be going back and doing a hardcover compilation of the Gatewalkers Adventure Path. Folks probably have they already know about this. It's an adventure path we published a while back, but this one is all going to be a nice one hardcover. It's rebuilt and remastered for the current rules, and we looked into feedback from people who have played it and all that, and have made a bunch of more quality of life adjustments to how things play out. I wrote the third adventure here. One of the things that I was excited to be able to do was to go in and kind of streamline and make this long expedition section. I'm trying not to spoil too much. This long expedition more exciting rather than more of a grind. So that again will be coming out in July and will be a complete adventure path for first level up to 10th level play.
That should be a lot of fun. So when it comes to some of our new content, one of the recent books that you may have gotten your hands on was War of Immortals, which in addition to covering a whole bunch of really exciting developments in our setting, it also introduced mythic rules to the Pathfinder 2nd edition. And so we have a couple of adventures that are really playing with those rules and those themes. And the first of them is very close to my heart. It is Myth Speaker, which is a level 1 through 10 adventure path set in Iblados. So Iblados, we barely touched it in first edition beyond the Gazetteer article here or there. This is going to be really our first time doing some in-depth adventures there. It is a place of legendary creatures, of mythic power, of these mortal hero gods, and of course, a whole bunch of really fun classic Greek vibes. Even if we're not really replicating classic Greece, it's very much drawing upon some of those themes. So for Myth Speaker, it's going to be basically starting off with you coming to Iblados, whether you're traveling from abroad over the Obari crossing trade routes, or whether you already live there, you're joining the funeral games of a VIP, but it's going to be interrupted by an interesting omen that you investigate. And in the course of that, you're going to get mythic power. And when people get mythic power in Iblados, everyone else starts to point at you and say, maybe you're the new hero gods. And that's really relevant because part of Iblados as a setting is that the whole making new hero gods thing was based on prophecy, a process called myth speaking. And when prophecy started doing not so well about 100 years ago, myth speaking went with it. So the fact that you're going to be entering the whole domain of hero gods is kind of a novel thing. It's really exciting. It's a reinvigoration of the archipelago. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on you as you explore things, but also a lot of pressure on you to figure out your own mythic power ASAP, because your bodies aren't made to contain the power that you have obtained. So you're going to be spending some time getting used to this little pantheon that you're building, some of the time finding a way to endure the power that is coursing through you so that you don't explode by the end of the second book. And by the end of it also, you're going to be uncovering what is the nature of mythic power in Iblos? Why is there so much mythic power here? And what awakened this most recent round of it? So really exciting, 3-volume AP. First volume comes out in July of 2025. And those 3 books are going to be The Acropolis Pyre, written by Kenderly Speedling and me. There's going to be Death Sails a Wine Dark Sea, which is written by Brian Duckwitz, and Titan Bane, written by Dave Nelson. So excited to see all those in print.
And correct me if I'm wrong, John, it sounds like we're introducing a new fate for player characters. There's not just the TPK, but there's a TPE, Total Party Explosion, it sounds like.
That's the thing that you ideally are going to avoid. In book
okay, never mind.
In book 2, when your mythic power really comes to force, you're like, that's strange. Why do we keep on taking damage over time?
I feel fizzy.
This condition wasn't here yesterday. And so part of the storyline will be going through your kind of own, well, Odyssey or Aeneid-like journey as you fortify yourself and learn to control the power that you have, going to some really exciting places and talking to some really exciting people along the way.
Excellent. Cool. About midway through, that's running from July through September. June, July, September, excuse me. In September, we're starting we're unleashing a brand new style of adventure for us. It's part of the Pathfinder game night. It's the basic idea is it's an entire adventure in a box. So it's got everything in there that you need. It's got, let me see if I can remember it all. It's got like four pre-generated characters, rules reference sheets, two double-sided poster maps with all of the battle map stuff in the entire adventure that you want to play. Pawns for all of the PCs and all of the creatures with little slot things that you can put them all together. And dice. We've got some nice frog green dice in this thing. And of course, an adventure. It's a 32-page adventure split into 3 parts. And the goal of Dawn of the Frogs is to present these 3 basically one-night adventures for you and your friends to get together and play. They're all first-level characters, first-level adventures, and you play them in order. They're all kind of self-contained, but they create a overarching plot where you have to help this town of Bog Bottom, which has a frog problem. Exactly what kind of frogs they are, you'll have to play the adventure and find out, but they do have hands and they can use weapons. So you'll want to watch out for those guys. Dawn of the Frogs, again, that's in September, and I hope people enjoy it. It's got everything that you really need to play the game right there in the box. So in theory, you won't need to bring along like the rule book, the core rule book, or the monster book. All of that stuff is self-contained in there. So let us know what you guys think about it when it's out. After Dawn of the Frogs, we're rolling into the 4th adventure path of the year, and just as we did a low-level mythic adventure with Mythspeaker, which looks at like the mythic callings of your characters. In October through December, we're going to continue that theme, but shifting over to the high level side of things with mythic destinies. And this adventure path is called Revenge of the Rune Lords. You probably recognize some of those letters and words and such. This is playing off of a storyline that started the Pathfinder adventure path back in about 20 years ago, 19 years ago. I don't know, years and years ago. And we've gone back to do stories about the Rune Lords a few times. We're first with Rise of the Rune Lords, then with Shattered Star, and then with Return of the Rune Lords. In Revenge of the Rune Lords, this is a 3-part adventure path, starts at 12th level, goes all the way to 20th level, and it focuses on your characters being very powerful mythic characters with mythic destinies. We're going to be introducing 4 new mythic destinies for you to play with. And the plot, I'm not going to say too much about the plot at this point. It does involve fighting Rune Lords and Rune Lords wanting revenge. People who have seen Rise of the Rune Lords, Shattered Star, Return of the Rune Lords, one of the things that I've taken to heart and I've heard people say is that they never got to face the toughest, the baddest, the most powerful Rune Lord of them all. And I'm not going to spoil who that Rune Lord is, but he does come not quite at the end of the alphabet. And it's a guy, and he's very proud of being a Rune Lord, and he's going to be front and center in Revenge of the Rune Lords, along with some other notable characters that we've been kind of laying preview hints about them coming up. Revenge of the Rune Lords is a very high-octane high level, high stakes adventure path. We often, for our adventure paths, we don't want to set things up so that's like, this is you're saving the world. It's more like you're saving a region or doing something more localized. Even in the recent Spore War, that's more about like stopping a demon army from attacking in the Elf Kingdom. Doesn't have much more stuff about it. If your player characters fail to win Revenge of the Rune Lords, you're going to have to take a pair of scissors to your maps of Galarian and maybe throw the whole thing away, because it's bad news if something happens as it plays out, because the certain Rune Lord who is coming back to get revenge has been, ignored and skipped over and even killed a few times before, and he is ready to take it all out on the Saga lands and anything around the Saga lands that is kind of attached to it by the same continental plates and all that stuff. So going to be some fun stuff. I'm being a little bit coy on the exact details of what's going on in this thing precisely, as well as who's writing it and all of that. We will get into more information about Revenge of the Rune Lords, Mythspeaker, and our adventures, I believe on Sunday morning. So if you want to find out more about our adventures in a less spoiler laden, in a more spoiler laden format, make sure to head on by that panel. And of course, we'll be around the entire PaizoCon anyway, lurking around on Discord and elsewhere, eager and excited to answer questions. And that's what we've got to announce and chat about and look forward to for PaizoCon. Welcome to PaizoCon, everyone. Anything else you wanted to add, John? Or
I'm just going to note that we missed our opportunity to talk to our publisher and say, hey, if we're going to have an AP that ends with some of our customers cutting up all their stuff, we should be ready to sell them a whole new wave of interesting stuff.
Well, we got that covered, I'm sure. I'm sure we thought ahead that far. But anyway, so speaking of cutting up the world and changing things and all that, that's a good segue to kick over to Luis and learn about what's in store for the Lost Omens setting as a whole. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you around PaizoCon.
Great. Thanks so much, narrative team. I don't know which one of you handed it off, but thank you either way. Hi, I'm Luis Loza. I'm creative director on the rules and lore side, and I have a friend with me. Hello.
Hello, I'm Eleanor Farron. I'm a senior Pathfinder developer on the rules and lore side.
And we are here to talk all about the Lost Omens setting, all the fun stuff about our world, and what's coming up in the Lost Omens line, what to expect later in the year. We have already seen the first Lost Omens book for the year, Rival Academies. People have had that for a little while and seem to enjoy it. I think everyone had a good time with that. What do you think, Eleanor?
Everybody tell Luis you enjoyed our book and chat.
Yes. Tell me how much you loved it and that you bought 4 copies each, one for every player at your table. And I'll be so happy. I'll add a new class to the game. I can't promise that. I'm sorry. But today we're here to talk about a couple new products in the Lost Omens line. And I
believe his lies.
Don't believe my lies. Does that mean that my joking with people and saying that I'm kidding, it was a lie? Who knows? I'm going to talk about it. The first of these couple products that are coming down the lines. We've already announced this book. It's Lost Omens Shining Kingdoms. This is a book all about the Shining Kingdoms region of the Inner Sea. And the Shining Kingdoms are kind of our take on classical high fantasy. They have knights and courtly intrigue, dwarves, elves, all the kind of stuff you expect when you think of high fantasy, but with our own little Pathfinder twist. And Shining Kingdoms is a 192-page book that delves into the history of the region, the factions of the region, the people who live there. There's not going to be any new ancestries in this book, but there will be some new ancestry feats here and there for the people who do live there. So expect, some elf feats, things like that. And there are 6 nations that make up the Shining Kingdoms. The first is Andrian, which is a nation all about democracy, and trying to liberate people, give them the freedom that they want, and kind of a really nice place to live, all things considered when you look at the rest of our setting. The book will go into a gazetteer, the history of Andrian, tell you all about notable people, and each of the nations that we look at will also feature a specific city that we give you a deep dive on as well. For Andran, we're going to be taking a look at the city of Almas, the capital of Andran, give you a map of the city and a bunch of cool locations and adventure hooks like you can kind of expect with all of our Lost Omens books. In addition to that, each nation has its own grouping of new player options. For Andran, we're going to be providing you the Eagle Knight archetype, as well as some new magic items that are tied to war shards in the God's Reign. There's, I think, a new type of gun made up from war shards that the Eagle Knights are starting to develop, which is really cool and really powerful and really dangerous. It should be real fun to put into your players' hands. We also are looking at the nation of Druma, which is all focused on mercantile and just anything that's good for business. And we will look at the capital city of Kersey while we're here. Player options include the Prophet of Calistrade archetype. And there's also some new animal companions that you're going to find here, like the Bacalia, which is a special little alpaca buddy who is known and raised for its very fine fur. Very cool friend to take out into a dungeon with you, of course. Then we move on to the Five Kings Mountain, which are the regions of the five kingdoms of the Dwarven nations in Avestan. It's the Dwarf lands, basically. Here, we didn't look at the main city that you'd expect, which is the city of Highhelm, because we already did that in Lost Omens Highhelm. Please buy it now. And instead, we're going to be looking at the city of Larad, which is a big center of religion for the region. And there are lots of major temples for each of the gods of the Dwarven pantheon. In addition to this, you're going to be seeing new feats for the Stalwart Defender archetype from Lost Omens Highhelm, new spells for members of the Rivathun, and even the Giant Rock Tuatara Animal Companion for all of you people who know our iconic Rivathun emissary, Shardra, her friend. You can take one for yourself as well. Then take a look at the nation of Galt, where things have gotten a bit better since we last saw Galt. I think things are feeling a little more stable, maybe a little less chaotic, and we'll take a deep dive into the capital city of Isarn. While we're there, you'll get a chance to take on new ghost feats. If you took the ghost archetype, there's ghost feats tied to someone who may have died in the revolutions in Galt. There's new magic items tied to the final blades. Now a lot of them have been dismantled. They're using that metal for something else. And also there's going to be an archetype artifact. For those of you who know that from Treasure Vault, there's going to be the Splinter of Finality, which is something to look forward to. It's fun to expand on some of these more obscure character options here and there when we have a really good idea for that. Those of you who have been playing in the Spore War Adventure Path might know Kyonin. And those of you who don't, well, you'll get a chance to learn about Kyonin here in this book and its capital city of Iadara. One of the new factions in this book is a group called the Wilderhearts. These are elves, not exclusively elves, but started as a group of elves, and everyone else can join in if you are committed and trained well enough, who are good at fighting demons. It turns out when you have a lot of training fighting Tree Razor and his forces, you get to figure out a lot of ways to deal with demons. So there's a lot of cool options for that. Any kind of fiend fighting figure might find a lot of fun stuff to do with this archetype. It's also a new magic school that's focused on teleportation and teleportation spells. Kyonin is known for the Iadara, the elf gates that they use to travel the world, and of course that means they have a good understanding of teleportation magic. And the final nation we'll be looking at is Taldor, our decadent nation of just full of nobles and courtly intrigue. If you want some backstabbing going on between nobles and aristocracy, it's going to be happening here, and probably in the capital city of Apara, which we'll be featuring. We're going to be remastering the Lion Blade archetype and expanding on that for those people who are interested in that archetype. And we're also going to have new magic items connected to the courts of Taldor and connected to Grand Princess Eutropia, like the Taldagus badge, which is just a badge featuring her dog, and it gives you a bonus to diplomacy, because who doesn't love Taldagus? And cool magic items like some Apex items made from the Grogersant, which the legends that you can learn about in Monsters and Myth are really cool, very powerful lion that's important to Taldor's history. And of course, while you're out adventuring, in the Shining Kingdoms. We're going to give your GMs plenty of monsters to throw at you as well. We have a new Fae troop called the Baron Frost Hunt, which is a troop of ice-themed Fae that can freeze like entire towns if enough of them get together. There's the Shroud Wing, which is a gross vulture thing that like it's not undead itself, but it feeds on undead. It has this guttural death rattle thing that it can emit to frighten people, and if you're dying, it can come over and start chomping at your soul and slip you further towards closer to death, and eventually like eat you up entirely. And we also have a new creature called the Failed Prophet, which is an undead representing those prophets of Calistrade that didn't quite succeed at fulfilling all the goals, and instead of just moving on to the afterlife, have become this twisted undead creature that maybe you can call on a Shadowwing or two to help you out to deal with those. But that's what to expect in Shining Kingdoms. It's out very soon from now, and that's coming out next month in June. But the next month after that, in July, we're also going to be handing you the Shining Kingdoms map archive. I mentioned 6 nations, 6 different cities. There's a lot of maps here, and we figured some of you might want to use these at your table. So the map archive is producing these large fold-out posters of each of the nations, and on the other side is the associated cities. So Andrian will have Almas and stuff, and there's going to be a total of 7 posters, the 7th being a poster of the Shining Kingdoms region. One side has all the map tags that you want, so you know where everything is. The other side is blank, so you can use it at your table and mark up your map however you want for your given campaign. So those are all coming together in one nice little box to keep them all stored together in July. And then in the fall, we have the last Lost Omens book for the year, which is, I think, even bigger than the Shining Kingdom one. So I'm going to let Eleanor talk about that one.
Oh, I would love to talk about them. So, Louise, I think the Monster Core is a pretty cool book.
Mhm.
But have you ever thought to yourself, this book would be a lot cooler if it had a lot more dragons?
Yes, all the time I do, in fact.
Great, so we're all in agreement here. In fact, I don't see why we need any monsters except dragons. And since we all agreed on this, we are announcing Lost Omens Draconic Codex, a book about dragons. And mostly just dragons. We might, if we're feeling generous, we might slip in a kobold or 2. But it's dragons all the way down. So many dragons. We've got remastered dragons that haven't yet been shown off in a monster core, like this magma dragon, a dragon that is super hot, even hotter than a cinder dragon, and can dig through magma, not swim. It burrows through magma because magma still has the viscosity of rock. Everybody be scientifically correct about magma in your games.
We like to
Okay.
impart science lessons in our books.
Yeah. We want these books to be educational. You cannot swim through lava or magma unless you are a magma dragon and being very charitable about the word swim. But wait, there's more. We're also including some dragons that have previously shown up in our setting but have never made their debut in 2nd edition, like this delightful Delight Dragon. Some of you may recognize this as having maybe had a different name in 1st edition, but we don't believe that propaganda. We don't call them Havoc Dragons because they trash everything while being curious and eat all your cookies and cause problems with your evil party members now. They are Delight Dragons because they are delightful, and you can see them in this book. And you could also see them in the Pathfinder CRPG Wrath of the Righteous. If you're lucky, and make good decisions, and are cute. Chad is cute. But wait, there's more. We also have brand new dragons, because we're not going to make you buy a dragon book that only has boring old remastered and previously shown in Pathfinder dragons. We have the Barrage Dragon, and several others like it. And this barrage dragon is known for shooting magical missiles out of the cannon-like structures on its body. And it powers this by these like metal ball bearings that are roiling under its skin. And it's super cool if you want to shoot your players with missiles. And who doesn't want to shoot their players with missiles? You can shoot your players with missiles in this game, and you don't have to play Lancer to do it. But you should also play Lancer because it's cool. But wait, there's more. We are also debuting, for the very first time, the stats for Archdragons in 2nd edition. Hey, Luis, what's an Archdragon?
So when a dragon grows up, it gets more and more powerful. And we talk about in our monster core, for example, our young dragons, our adult dragons, our ancient dragons, and we name drop the idea of archdragons at the very end. That's the oldest of all dragons, the most powerful, the ones that get not only the best stats, but also cool, new, powerful abilities that none of the other stat blocks have. So yes, an archdragon. You can take, I don't know, an adamantine archdragon or a conspirator archdragon, or even archdragons for the barrage dragon that we just talked about. Archdragons all across the board.
Or an Omen Archdragon, like this cool Omen Archdragon that we're showing you on the screen right now.
What's the cool thing that the Omen archdragon can do?
I don't know what it can do, but it can ponder this ginormous orb that's floating over its head. Pondering the orb is a free action for an Omen Archdragon because they're that powerful. OP, please nerf. But wait, there's more, which we're not going to tell you about because we need to have something to promote this book later. But stay tuned. Mark your calendars. Draconic Codex coming soon.
Yeah. You'll have a Draconic Codex by the end of the year, and I think that wraps up everything that's happening on the Lost Omens side of things. So unless you have one more no, we can't tease them with more dragons. Well, that's enough. They'll have to wait. Instead, we'll look at other monstrous things here. So I'm going to hand it off to Joe Piscini and to Michelle Kim and to Eleanor Farron next to talk about
me.
just what else we have monstrous up our sleeves. Thanks everyone for coming to PaizoCon. We hope you look forward to all the stuff Lost Omens coming soon.
Hi, me. Thanks, me. I'm back, and I'm here to introduce my colleagues, Michelle Kim and Joe Pizzini, for a very exciting announcement. I am so excited. You have no idea how long we've been forced to sit on this due to NDAs. Why don't you two take it away?
Hi, I'm Michelle. I am a developer on Pathfinder, and I am one of the, or maybe the writer of the game we're about to introduce. Joe?
Yeah, and I'm Joe. I designed this game, and it is called Monster Match. And it's, can you guess what it is from the title? Why don't we just tell you? Pathfinder has a lot of action and adventure, but we're going to add a little bit of romance coming later this year. And you're going to get to date monsters. That's the short and sweet way of saying it. So it's a quick game for 2 to 6 adventurers where you're going to take monsters on dates, give them gifts, and build connections with them. We had a chance to play it recently in one of its final forms and had a pretty good time, and we hope you will too. Do you want to talk about what's in the game, or should we skip to?
Don't look at me. I'm just the wardrobe department.
Yeah, in the game, there are different monsters you can date, and you try to win compatibility with them basically by taking them on dates, giving them gifts. You can compete for the same person, as happened in our game. Joe and Jason Bullman had a little fight over a genie.
Very true, and I think I remember winning that. Finally, I don't usually win games that I play with Jason Bullman, but this one time,
yes, you did win over the genie's heart.
Yeah, and the art style is cool. It's The art style is a dating sim style done by Gunship Revolution with the art direction of Paizo's director of visual design, Sonia Morris, which is great. And I think we should each say we've talked about doing this, but we didn't prearrange which monsters we would pick. But we should say which of the 20 monsters that come in the game we're most looking forward to dating, and maybe what date we want to take them on. And
I told you dibs on the genie.
You did say dibs on the genie, but
no, I'm stealing your
like
man, Joe. I'm stealing him.
Well, what are you
Jason
gonna do?
Pullman may have failed, but I'm stealing him. I don't know. He's so dreamy. I dreamy of the genie.
Okay.
I bet he could grant some wishes of mine.
All right, before anyone gets fired, how about you, Michelle?
I'm pretty basic. I do love a good vampire, and I know one of the dates, because I wrote them all, is a spa date, I'm pretty sure. So I would love to just go to a spa, and spas are usually discounted at night, or like saunas at least. So.
Well, a spa sounds a whole lot more appealing than a rotten bag of fruit that you gave me.
You know what? That works on some of them.
Some monsters do like a nice rotten bag of fruit, which is actually a gift that you came up with, which I love. I actually have my eyes on, I think, Glub the Sentient Ooze. Like, I just have to go with the Sentient Ooze. I hope to win Glub's lack of a heart one day. Maybe we can go to a concert or something. That would be nice. But yeah, we're very excited about this. Everyone in the company has been kind of squirming excitedly since the idea came up, kind of independently in multiple places in the company, actually, and we decided to make a board game out of it. So keep an eye out for Pathfinder Monster Match, where you can turn your adversaries into admirers. And now we'll pass it over to the organized play team,
who may or may not also date monsters. Guess we'll find out.
Ask, you never know.
Over to them. No pressure.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to PaizoCon. We are your organized play developers. I'm Jessica Catalan, Senior Developer here at Paizo and Head of the Starfinder Society.
And I'm Shay Snow. I'm one of the Pathfinder Society developers.
And I'm Josh Foster, the other Pathfinder Society developer.
Right now, here at PaizoCon, we are launching the final adventure for Starfinder First Edition. Starfinder Society scenario number 714, The Final Assessment, is a challenging, high-level adventure for experienced Starfinders that makes a return to the Scoured Stars. It's for 11th through 14th level characters and is written by our very own associate publisher, Thurston Hellman. This is a capstone adventure really meant to bring your beloved Starfinder's career to a momentous conclusion. It's got some callbacks, memorable combats, a fateful decision, and has the potential to permanently retire your character, even if you survive. So get in the game and take the final assessment. I hear former First Seeker Jed Nura is waiting for you. But of course, the end of Starfinder First Edition does not mark the end of Starfinder. We are launching Starfinder Second Edition in a few months, and right alongside it is the Starfinder Society. So peer into the future with me for a moment, as a massive alien starship has crash-landed on the planet Akaton, unleashing a wave of destruction, dangerous robots and monsters, and volatile magic. The Starfinder Society is one of the first teams on site to explore this mysterious and incredibly dangerous starship, which will soon be dubbed the Wreck of the Returned. What connection does this site have to the fabled First Ones? And what doom does its arrival herald for the people of Akaton? I welcome you to join us for Invasion's Edge, the first season of the Starfinder Society for Starfinder Second Edition. For more information on Invasion's Edge, our special launch adventure Collision's Wake, the numerous scenarios we have planned for you, and the future of the Starfinder Society, turn into our organized play panel right here at PaizoCon. I'll see you in the future.
And over here at the Pathfinder Society, we are going to be launching into the Year of Battle's Spark. But before we can do that, we have our scenarios dropping here at this convention. And the one that I specifically want to talk about is Pathfinder Society 6-16, which is the heart of the city. Hesla Embersplitter has been at the center of a very big plot. And at this point, it's time for the Pathfinder Society to really get into her home and figure out what it is that she's ordered that is extremely massive and is now hiding out. and where all these cultists are coming from. Along the way, you'll also find out just a little bit more about Hesla's backstory and what led her to become the leader of the cult of the Screaming Grub. Heart of the City is written by our own Rue Dickey, and in addition, that leads into all of our new upcoming and penultimate scenarios, and which includes What Walks Again, which everyone goes, "Hey, why is Discari on the cover, Shay?" No answers. Coming into Battle Spark, Enough is Enough, as Cheliax has taken its last swing at the Pathfinder Society. We are returning back to Breach Hill for the first time since Age of Ashes, just to kind of help out and see what's going on as the Eagle Knights decide to stop a big Hell Knight swarm from taking over the city. Further on throughout the year, we'll be going to places such as Karamaga, Iblados, and Nightall. Josh?
So we're talking about Breach Hill, a place we visited in Age of Ashes, and that is going to be setting off a major conflict. And we had thought, what if we let the players play that out? You know, with massive battle terrain and a built-up citadel all-terrain. So the Battle for Hell Knight Hill will be a Gen Con event like nothing else, where you control the Andoran army fighting off the Chelaxian forces and trying to retake the Citadel. It's going to be spectacular. And it's using a modified form of the rules from Battlecry, the book that'll be on sale there. It's going to be pretty spectacular. We haven't done anything like this before, so you'll definitely want to get tickets for that as soon as you can. But speaking of enough being enough, another scenario that we're going to have at PaizoCon, Devil in the Details. And those devils happen to be Chelaxian, and those details happen to be a God's Reign based super weapon that they're developing, and that you kind of accidentally stumble across. So if you want to play a God's Reign scenario that's leading into this Hellfire crisis, that's one to look into. It's a level 7 to 10 adventure, and it's going to be some high level fun.
You know, maybe if Venture Gossip hadn't gotten kidnapped, we'd have known about that super weapon. And also, if you really want to see if you can help out Venture Gossip, at Gen Con, you'll be able to take part in Under the Eye of the Mantis, where we discuss the Red Mantis Dispatch, the Red Mantis Assassins, and the Pathfinder Society.
That does sound pretty incredible. But in addition to a lot of Devils and War, we're still doing Pathfinder Society stuff next season. For instance, I know that John Compton's busy on work with Myth Speakers, Iblados, a area of Galarian that we really haven't seen much of. And Shay and I were thinking, why hasn't the Pathfinder Society been doing anything there? So we're going to be sending you all to Iblados. If you want to play 7-03, A Foot in the Door. That's going to be a blast. Then, well, we have a Draconic Codex coming out, and you can never have enough dragons. So in the coming season, not only will we have a quest, an all ages quest, where you help out a dragon, sometimes you want to fight a dragon. So we're going to have a scenario where you get to do just that, just slug it out, and we think that's going to be a blast too. But that's what I've got in the works.
All right, and that was us over here with Organized Play, and now back over to Mr. Erik Mona to wrap up our keynote.
Thank you so much, Paizo's Organized Play team. Organized Play is such an important part of what we do at Paizo. It's such an important part of my connection to Pathfinder and role-playing games in general. We love Organized Play, and Organized Play is going on all weekend long. Check out paizo.com/PaizoCon to sign up. We are launching 2 new seasons of Organized Play at Gen Con in just a couple of months. Now is a great time to get involved. Hello again, everyone. I'm Erik Mona, your publisher and chief creative officer. And thank you once again for joining us for PaizoCon. I hope you've enjoyed our keynote presentation. We have got panel presentations all weekend long right here on twitch.tv/official Paizo. And we would love for you to join us for some, if not all, of those presentations. You can check out the official schedule at paizo.com/PaizoCon. I want to reiterate, we have got an amazing sale going on right now on paizo.com. Check it out. You can get you can get 20% off any single order on paizo.com all weekend long. It goes all the way through the weekend. It ends Monday, May 26th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. All you need to do is make a single order and put in the discount code PaizoCon25. That's one word, PaizoCon25, and you will get 20% off. But this thing's only going till Monday. You've got no time to lose. Well, you got a little time to do it, but PaizoCon25, that's your code, 20%, that's your discount. Paizo.com/PaizoCon, that's your guide to everything going on this weekend. Thank you so much for joining us for this keynote presentation. Thank you to the Paizo staff for everything that they have shared and will share over the course of the weekend. We are delighted to have you with us. Please check out a game, pop over on the Discord, watch some of our panels, interact with the chat. We are looking forward to hanging all weekend long. We will see you at PaizoCon. Thank you, everybody. Bye.